All right, so last week I was asked by some of my students who are studying in Raffles institution to go through a question they had gone through in their school as a class test, and they wanted to verify whether their thinking on how to answer certain questions was correct. But then since there are quite a number of students in my class, I decided to put it up as a video so that I don't have to keep repeating the explanation for every student who comes to me. All right, so first and foremost, the question gave us a table that involved data pertaining to Japan, USA, Korea, and Mexico, and there's some information provided as shown in the table here. All right, so what was the question about? The question A asked, did Japan, USA, or Mexico have the greatest rise in real wage between 91 and 96, right? So Japan, USA, Korea, you can see from the table, 3 of the 4 countries. Japan, USA, Mexico, 3 of the 4 countries are identified in the table. You're supposed to calculate which one has the highest increase in real wage. Now, increase in real wage, how do you calculate that? The way to calculate increased real wage is to recognize the correct formula to use is that the percentage change in real wages is equal to, actually more like approximately equal to the percentage change in nominal wages, which is the first row of information, minus the percentage change in consumer prices, also known as the inflation rate. All right, so you take this number minus this number for each country to get the percentage change in real wages. Notice how the question didn't ask for Korea, because there's no way to calculate this for Korea since the information for percentage change in nominal wages is not included in the first place. All right, so when we calculate these values, so we simply plug in the values for Japan, for instance, right? 1.8%, which is percentage change in nominal wages, minus the 0.7% inflation rate, that gives us 1.1%. Now you repeat the same process for USA. USA will be taking 2.7% minus 2.9% inflation rate. That gives you a negative 0.2% percentage change in real wages, which means that real wages in America actually fell between 91 to 96 by 0.2%. Now in Mexico, the nominal wages itself had fallen over the 5 years by 1.6%. On top of that, inflation rate was 19.7, causing the real value of the wages to fall even further by a 21.3% decline, right? So if the question is asking whether Japan, Mexico, or USA have the greatest increase in real wages, Japan being the only country shown in this table that have any increase at all would be the country that have the largest increase in real wages. So that's the correct answer. Now, how do you get 2 marks, right? To get to the 2 marks, right? Sorry, there's a typo here. This is supposed to be justify your answer. Justify your answer. Sorry about that. All right, so to justify your answer, first mark for this question is to answer Japan as the state that Japan is the country with the highest increase. The way to justify answer is basically to invoke the formula to calculate the percentage change in real wages as percentage change in nominal wages minus the consumer prices. And then you just put in the values as part of your working to gain the other mark. All right, so this would be how you get the marks for the first question. Now let's move on to the second question. The second question is, apart from the balance of trade or BOT, identify the other accounts or the other balance which makes up the current account. So the question is asking for identify. So it's very, very low order question, just testing your content knowledge as to whether you know what are the components of the current account or CA. Right? So just so in case some of you are not clear about the content, the current account of the balance of payment of a country records all monetary inflow and outflow of the into the economy or out of the economy due to 2 main class of reasons. The first is the balance of trade. Right, the revenues from export of goods minus expenditures on import of goods makes up the goods balance. Similarly, the revenues from export of services minus the expenditure on import of goods and services, services make up the services balance. And then you have your income balance, which is made up of primary and secondary income balance. Primary income balance primarily recording factor incomes that flow into the country from abroad, and factor incomes flowing out of the country to abroad, right? And secondary income balance record transfers, right, between countries, either government to government transfers or private sector economic agents to private sector economic agents transfers. So other than the balance of trade, what else go into current account? It is the income balance as your component of the current account that is other than balance of trade. So simply the answer to this is identify the other account. Notice how they say the other account, meaning there's only one other, right? So that answer is just the income balance for 1 mark. All right, so that's for the second question.